Reptilians, welcome back to the channel. I'm Elle, and this is Elle's Reptiles. A few weeks ago on Instagram, I asked you guys what you wanted to see in terms of videos or shorts or reels or anything like that, and one of those suggestions was, what do you do as a parent when your kid has just told you they want a reptile? And I thought that was a really cool idea for a video. I did a video all about kids and reptiles, I believe here, that featured my children. It was like 3 or 4 years ago though, so they were all very tiny. I'll leave that video there. It kind of talks about ages and how they handle reptiles and things like that if you need it. But today, we're just going to talk about what you as a parent should do when that time comes. Before we get started, this video is sponsored by Her Gecko, so make sure to stay until the end of the video to find out all about this awesome company. Let's get started. All right, so the first huge thing, the most important thing, is it is so awesome that your kid wants a reptile, but understand that that means that you are going to be solely in charge of that reptile. And actually, even I was going to say, unless we're talking about like teenagers, but even then, you're still going to have to check on that animal and make sure that they are taking proper care of that animal. A child isn't going to quite understand the importance of all of the reptile caretaking steps that need to be done. And even if they do understand the importance, they're not always going to remember all of the things. And even if they do remember all the things, most of them aren't going to be able to afford all of the things. So on some level, no matter what your child's age is, most likely you're going to be responsible for that pet. Basically what I'm saying is, please don't get your kid a reptile and then just leave it 100% up to the kid to take care of, because that's not going to end well. So before the steps even start, you should probably make sure that whatever animal it is that they want is going to be age appropriate. And what I mean by that is, you're probably going to want to look at reptiles that are more generally considered beginner reptiles for younger kids. So things like leopard geckos or bearded dragons, depending on how much work you're going to put into that, solely based on a bearded dragon's disposition, maybe even ball pythons, things that are not going to move super fast and that are going to be very hardy and very forgiving. Essentially, you're not going to want to get a 6-year-old a Burmese python. You're not going to want to get a 10-year-old a crocodile. Just make sure whatever you're getting them is going to be age appropriate and that they're going to be able to interact with and care for that animal. Age appropriate could even mean getting your 5-year-old a tank with a giant day gecko in it that you take care of 100% and they just watch it. They watch it and admire it and talk about how cool it looks when it eats. That could be age appropriate. Just make sure whatever you get is age appropriate. So the first thing that you should do is just have your kid research that animal. If they're smaller kids, have them look up videos on how to take care of that animal. If they're older kids, have them go to Reptiles and read up on how to take care of that animals and watch videos. Make sure that they have a basic understanding of what all goes into having a pet, and that they're gonna have to feed it and clean the tanks, and that this animal is gonna live for a while. This is kind of the same thing no matter what pet you get your child. If you get your child a puppy, they should probably understand what goes into keeping a puppy and that they're gonna have to feed it and walk it or whatever. Just make sure they understand what goes into that. Depending on the age, you can probably quiz them on things that they have learned about this animal and see if they're actually researching. Because again, most of the responsibility falls on you as the parent, so you have to know all of these things. So once all the research is done, make sure your child understands the rules. This is very important in preventing lizard and snake escapes. Make sure they understand that maybe it's not okay to open the tank if a parent or someone isn't around to watch them and pull that animal out. Make sure they understand that it's not okay to pull that animal's tail or to play in the cricket bin. Whatever rules you set up as a parent, make sure that those are discussed and your child understands them and agrees to them, because those are very important. Very important that they are not going to open that tank up when you aren't around. And if that is something that they're going to struggle with, make sure to get some kind of locking system or mechanism on that tank so that they can't do that. And the last thing is just give them responsibility while obviously monitoring to make sure those responsibilities are done. So just like you may give your child any other chore and you watch to make sure that they're doing that chore, make sure you do the same with the reptile. Reptile. Make sure that even if on their chore chart it says that they feed that animal every other day, that they're actually feeding it every other day. Maybe have them help you clean the tank depending on the age, or just make sure that they are cleaning the tank appropriately. Make sure that all of the normal things are being done to take care of that animal. No matter how much you have to help with that thing, just make sure that animal is being taken care of appropriately. At the end of the day, that animal cannot take care of itself. It is in a tank. It cannot do anything by itself. It is your responsibility to make sure that that animal is happy and healthy and just living its best life. Please make sure that you do that. A lot of times you'll see, like on Instagram and stuff, people being very upset when parents get kids reptiles, and I personally think that kids, when they want reptiles, a lot of times they should get reptiles. However, the biggest thing here is just making sure that the parent understands that that reptile is essentially their reptile to take care of and provide for. Biggest thing. Other than just understanding that it's the parent's responsibility, I think reptiles are such an amazing thing for kids. It just completely takes away that fear for the unknown, and it like starts this passion in kids at such a young age, which I think is absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely amazing. My now 8-year-old that was like 4 or 5 in that video that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, he is obsessed with animals. He loves animals so much. He was crying at the idea of the silverback gorilla going extinct one day 2 days ago. He is so passionate about animals, and he comes in here and he just admires animals and he asks so many questions about them. I think that reptiles are such a fantastic thing for kids to grow up around and just to spark their curiosity. Just make sure that they're being cared for correctly and you're good to go. That is it. That is all I have for this week's video. Hopefully it was helpful. Let me know in the comments below what your very first reptile was and how old you were. Like, were you a little kid when you very first had reptiles? Or maybe you had a family tegu? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what your first reptile was. I'm always super curious about that. My first reptile was in high school and it was turtles, and I learned very quickly how much care goes into turtles and that they were not for me. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. As I said at the beginning of this video is sponsored by I Heart Geckos. I Heart Geckos is a fantastic company that has sponsored us here on this channel for a few years now. They're great. They make conversion kits for tanks, so just glass tanks that you may have laying around. They make these kits that go into them and allow you to turn it into a front opening tank, which looks very nice, and it makes your animal more comfortable for you reaching in front at them as opposed to from the top. Whether it is reptiles or spiders, amphibians, whatever it is that you may need a conversion kit for, make sure to check out iHeartGeckos.com and leave Elle's Reptiles in the How Did You Hear About Us box. That way they know that you guys are coming from here. Thank you so much to I Heart Geckos for continuing to sponsor these videos. If you aren't already, please feel free to follow me on my other socials and like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications every single time I put out a new video, which is every Sunday and some Wednesdays. This week's Instagram shout out is here. This week's Instagram shout out is here. Thank you so much for liking and following and subscribing and commenting and sharing and all that jazz. You are the bee's knees. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye. Basically what I'm saying is please don't get your animal. Nope. Basically, once they have researched their animal, actually this will go before research. My now 8-year-old, the thunder is loud. I've been talking for such a long time. Okay. But that is it. That is all that I have. Oh wait, did I say that already? That's all I have. Okay. I need some water. My eye is watering. Yes.